In Oyo and Osun states in the southwest of the country is not different.
This is the right time, because Nigerian workers have been used, and then we are now wise. Our politicians make us to be wise. So before we can cut our vote for anybody, we will know the person is going to take care of our interests. It will make the workers' budget into their budget, not the budget of how they are going to do their medical in overseas, or they are going to send their family to the overseas for their holiday. Any government we are going to cast our vote, we have to put the interests of the worker into the consideration.
Workers in Lagos State marched from Maryland to the seat of government in Alausa area of the state. They distribute flyers to sensitize the people of a planned strike if an agreement is not reached between the labor union and the federal government.
You all know for the past 2 years we have been on negotiation of minimum wage, which tripartite committee came out with 30,000 naira minimum wage. The bill has been submitted to the federal government, which was received by the president himself. So our expectation is for the president to transmit this bill to House of Senate, House of Rep. The gentility of the organized labor and their patience as to the submission of that bill to House of Senate is long overdue. We need to prepare, sensitize, and mobilize the public towards the strike.
The labor union had met in Lagos in December, some days before 2018 Christmas, announcing its readiness to resume its suspended strike if the new minimum wage is not implemented, while rejecting further meetings over the matter. The earlier peaceful rally turns chaotic as the workers are prevented from entering the government office.
They cannot talk to us from here. We did that in September, if you remember. You get it? We cannot be caged from seeing those who are elected by the people. So let's just take clear message from them. Excuse please. These are organized labor and civil society organizations. In Lagos. We are here to make a presentation to Excellency. We will not allow to be stopped by this barricade.
On the other side, our camera captures the governor's convoy pulling out from another gate. News of his absence angers the workers.
We are saying we are not happy about it. And essay, you should also tell the governor this is not happening for the first time. Even when the leadership of NSC from Abuja sent a letter here to meet with the governor, he also dodged us. He didn't attend to us. Not one, not two occasions.
They are placated by their leader to allow the governor's representative receive the letter containing their demands for onward transfer to the governor's forum. The result of the meeting between the federal government and labor leaders is a pledge to transmit the new minimum wage bill to the National Assembly on or before 23rd of January 2019.
We have had some useful discussion. As we are aware, you have also seen that we have tried to consult. Some progress has been made. What we are trying to see is how the bill can be transmitted to the National Assembly, having timeline and other things, which is what we are working on clearly now, so that it can be enacted into law.
A day after the protests, President Muhammadu Buhari keeps to his 2019 budget presentation speech to the National Assembly to inaugurate an advisory technical committee on minimum wage. The committee has 1 month to submit its report.
We are currently working on the final series of steps leading to the submission of a national minimum wage amendment bill to the National Assembly. I want to make it clear that there is no question about whether the national minimum wage will be reviewed upwards. I am committed to a review of the minimum wage. The technical committee being inaugurated today will be chaired by an economist and financial expert, Mr. Bismarck Rouhani. Other members of the committee are experienced economists and administrators from the private sector working together with all the relevant officials in the government. The terms of reference of the committee are: A, to develop and advise government on how to successfully bring about a smooth implementation of the impending wage increases. B, identify new revenue sources as well as areas of existing expenditure from where some savings could be made in order to fund the wage increases without adversely impacting the nation's development goals as set out in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. C, propose a work plan and modalities for the implementation of the salary increases. And D, any other suggestion that will assist in the implementation of this and future wage increases.
A socio-political analyst in Taraba State describes the constitution of another committee by the presidency on the minimum wage as a tactic to delay the transmission of the recommendations of the tripartite committee agreement. He says the delay over the new minimum wage is long overdue, as it is enshrined in the constitution to be reviewed after every 5 years.
If the law provides for the review of this thing every 5 years, let it just come. The activation of the process by the law should just go on, like I said earlier, without unnecessary agitation and tension. The former head of service of the Federation, a lady that is vast and experienced, headed that committee. They did their comprehensive work and their report submitted. That should be the starting point. What is left now is for Mr. President to transmit the bill to the National Assembly for passage. Setting up another committee to do what? Why are we deploying delay tactics? Like I said before, it's uncalled for. I don't think this one, our level of operating these indices with regards to labor-government relationship, honestly, in Nigeria, should have stepped up higher than this now. We are supposed to be a shining example on the continent of Africa. You and I, we are talking of 30,000 naira. South Africa, 4 years ago, when we were the largest growing economy and the first in Africa, South Africa is paying 126,000 naira monthly as minimum wage. And here we are talking of 30,000 naira. Yet, people do not want to listen to this story about we cannot, the money is not there and the rest all. Where is the wealth of this country?
The labor union insists it has come to the end of negotiations and would only wait for the implementation of the new minimum wage.
Well, you can agree with me that this is one of the longest drawn negotiations for minimum wage in the history of our country since the first Minimum Wage Act was passed in 1981. This process started with the inauguration of the tripartite committee for the negotiation of a new national minimum wage in November 2017. And since then, it has been a very tortuous journey. The hopes of Nigerian workers have been suspended for a long time. But then, with the turn of events recently, it appears government is about to do the needful. There is already a memorandum of understanding between government and labor that this minimum wage draft bill, the new national minimum wage of 30,000 naira, as agreed by the tripartite committee, would be transmitted to the National Assembly on or before the 23rd of January 2019. So this is on the issue of the national minimum wage. When the issue of the committee came up, Labour made its position very clear, and the position was that Nigerian workers have come to the end of negotiations as far as the issue of a new national minimum wage is concerned. The committee, I think, is for the government to be able to tidy up their own house to ensure a seamless implementation of the new national minimum wage once it is enacted into law by the National Assembly. Upon transmission of the minimum wage, the new national minimum wage bill to the National Assembly by Mr. President on or before 23rd of January. So what government does is government's business. What Labour is concerned about is that this bill is transmitted to the National Assembly on or before the 23rd of January 2019. You can agree with me?